Hello, my name is Will Austin. This is my documentary called The Gadget. It is about the making of the atomic bomb. The scientists who invented the atomic bomb called it the gadget. The atomic bomb changed history. Fission made the atomic bomb possible. It was discovered by two German scientists, Otto Hahn and Fritz Strassmann, in 1938. They were experimenting with uranium, trying to make a new element by bombarding uranium atoms with neutrons. They did not make a new element, but they split the uranium atom. They called the splitting fission. Fission happens when a neutron hits an atom of uranium. The atom splits and releases energy. More neutrons come out and hit other atoms, which starts a chain reaction like dominoes. The chain reaction ends when all the atoms are split and there is no more uranium. Einstein made his theory of relativity in 1916 by applying E equals mc squared. The German scientists knew that a huge amount of energy would be released during fission if they could create a chain reaction. They figured that if a pound of uranium were converted into pure energy, it would create as much energy as the US made in a week. Fission would be 20 million times more explosive than TNT. Later, it was discovered that an isotope of uranium called plutonium would make fission better. In the 1920s and 30s, before Hitler took power, Germany was number one in nuclear science. But many of the scientists were Jews and left Germany because of Hitler. Other countries feared that the Germans would make the bomb first because they started working on one first. Albert Einstein wrote a letter to President Franklin Roosevelt on August 2, 1939, 1 month before World War II began, saying that the Nazis were purifying uranium-235, which meant they were attempting to make a nuclear bomb and use it to conquer the world. On December 6, 1941, President Roosevelt made the decision that the U.S. would make an atomic bomb. General Leslie Groves and Dr. Robert Oppenheimer were the head of the top-secret program known as the Manhattan Project. It started in the fall of 1942. They started building the laboratory at Los Alamos, which is 35 miles north of Santa Fe. They also began refining uranium at Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and Hanford, Washington. The Manhattan Project lasted for 6 years from 1939 to 1945. $2 billion were spent. The hardest part about making an atom bomb was purifying the uranium into uranium-235, which is an isotope of uranium. Isotopes are like mutations of elements. It takes 500 parts of uranium ore to make 1 part pure uranium. To make it worse, that 1 part of uranium contains only 1% of uranium-235. Two scientists at Oak Ridge figured out how to refine uranium into uranium-235. They were Harold Urey and Ernst Lawrence. Another major breakthrough was when they made enough uranium-235 and knew how to make a chain reaction. The next thing they needed to do was to make the bomb. When the Allies invaded Germany, they captured their records and found that they had not found a way to make a chain reaction work. But they did find 1,200 tons of uranium that was shipped to Oak Ridge and used to fuel the Little Boy bomb. Hitler committed suicide on April 30th, and the war with Germany ended on May 7th, 1945. The American scientists tested a plutonium bomb called Tall Man in the desert 200 miles south of Los Alamos. Oppenheimer called the site Trinity. The plutonium bomb was very complicated. Many of the scientists thought it would not work. At 5:30 a.m. on July 16, 1945, Tall Man was detonated. On July 26, 1945, the U.S. told Japan to surrender or be totally destroyed. The Japanese refused to surrender. President Roosevelt died before the bomb could be used on April 12, 1945. His Vice President, Harry S. Truman, became president that day. He had not been told about the Manhattan Project. 2 atom bombs, Little Boy and Fat Man, were taken apart and shipped to a small island in the Pacific near Japan. 5 cities were chosen as possible targets. Hiroshima was chosen as the first target. On the morning of August 6th, the Enola Gay, a B-29 Superfortress piloted by Lieutenant Colonel Paul Tibbets, took off. At 8:15 a.m., Little Boy exploded at 190 feet above the ground at Hiroshima. 90% of Hiroshima was destroyed. 66,000 people died on that day. Thousands more died later from radiation.
21 days after the New Mexico experiment, a B-29 was over Hiroshima carrying an atomic bomb. At 8:15 in the morning of August 6th, Japanese time, the first atomic bomb struck an enemy target.
The Japanese government did not believe that one bomb could have destroyed an entire city. They still refused to surrender. 3 days later, on August 9th, the U.S. planned to bomb Kuroka, but bad weather made them switch to Nagasaki. Fat Man exploded at 1,600 feet above the city. 40,000 people died on that day. Thousands more died later from radiation. A third atomic bomb was ready to be dropped, but President Truman ordered the bombing to stop because of the idea of killing children. The Japanese government promised they would surrender to the U.S. if Emperor Hirohito was allowed to keep his throne. The official surrender took place on August 14, 1945. The atomic bomb changed history. It ended World War II and changed the way wars are fought.